Dear colleagues, dear participants, after the coffee break, we are facing the section 2, where I have the honor to preside. And first I will announce Alexandra Syryt, that's correct. She is professor at the Cardinal Stefan Wysznski University in Warsaw, and the title of her lecture is State and National Symbols as Values in the Constitution of the Republic of Poland. Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Once again, thank you to organizers from Central European Academy. Thank you to my research group for being here and for sharing experience on all these things on state system and on national and state symbols. Today I would like to share some thoughts on Polish constitution because this year we celebrate 25th anniversary of adopting Polish constitution, and I wanted to connect this subject on states and national symbols with the constitution. And this junctum I found are values which are presented in the Constitution of Poland. So, first I want to say that we treat Constitution in different ways. First, as a normative act, and maybe it's obvious for you, but in Poland history, in the history of Poland, it wasn't so obvious. Constitution before wasn't treated exact as normative act, especially during communistic period. The Constitution of Poland of 1952 was treated as political declaration and not more. And now it is full normative act. But the Constitution is also a collection of values. It states an axiological system of the state. And these two perspectives I would like to present. First one, the Constitution as a normative act. As I said, it is not only a document connecting political demands. It contains legal norms, and from these legal norms we derive rules of behavior that must be observed, and there are some sanctions if we don't obey these rules. We have the rule of law, and the state bodies should behave on the basis on these rules. And one more important thing is that the Constitution of Poland can be directly applied, so it can be the basis for individual and specific acts issued by public authorities. Of course, not all of provisions of Polish Constitution can be directly applied, but the Constitution said it, that some of this provision should be developed by other legal acts, especially parliamentary acts. And the last one important thing that about Constitution as a normative act is that Constitution determines the system of the state and the legal status of citizens, and this connection, it was told by Professor Todt, is something connected with sovereignty. And this was the sovereign decision which goods, which values are important for the state, which values are important for citizens. So they were collected in this legal act. Of course, we can say that constitution is the source of these values. Sometimes we made this short thought that the source of values is constitution. The source of values is constitution, but the constitution is a source of knowledge on the values which are important for the citizens and for the state. Sorry. And these values are not important now, but there were important also in the past. So this constitution creates a national bond. It creates elements of national identity, and this national and constitutional identity could be interpreted from the constitution. Paradoxically, if we read Polish judgments of Constitutional Tribunal, there are not information that state or national values are element on this constitutional or national identity. But if it is not written, it is not true that there are not a part of the constitutional identity. National identity is inseparable from the basic political and constitutional structure deriving from the constitution, and the national symbols and state symbols are the sign for the citizens and are the signs of the state. So they build this identity. As I said, the sovereign, the nation, because in Poland the sovereign is a nation, and the nation is understood as citizens, the citizens of the Republic of Poland, no matter of their origins, culture, or religion, and this nation enacting constitution and approving it in referendum said that some of these goods and values are a part of this constitutional identity and national identity. So now we can combine this constitution context as normative act and constitution as collection of values, and see where to search constitutional values. In Polish constitution we can find it everywhere. I think that in each chapter of Polish constitution there are values protected on this constitutional level, but we have three places, three chapters and three parts of constitution where these values are very strong protected. First place is the preamble to the constitution. It is full of values, and in our opinion in Poland, this preamble to the constitution as a part of normative act has also normative meaning. It is not only a declaration, it is also a part of normative act, and we interpret some values and some rules from the preamble. For example, the principle of subsidiarity we interpret it from preamble to the constitution, and it is, for example, a pattern of control during proceeding before constitutional tribunal. Second part is this chapter 1 in Poland Rzeczpospolita. I can translate, but it is not exact translate, Republic. And this chapter is on principles of the state, political principles, social principles, and also economic principles. And the last place is the chapter on the state of the citizens and human in Poland. So it's chapter 2 where freedoms, rights and duties are approved and protected. And how it is with national and state symbols. Last time in June we talked that national and state symbols emphasizes the character and independence of the country to which they belong, and usually a nation as a community has its signs to be separate from the other communities. Very often these symbols are connected with tradition, culture and history, as it was said in the presentation of Professor Cipolo, and the same is in Poland. And it is the base on which we can found and or search the national and state symbols in Polish constitution. So where can we find the sources of protection of national and state symbols? It is, in my opinion, in preamble to the constitution and in chapter 1 of the constitution of the Republic of Poland. Here is the full text on some 3 pages of this preamble. I underline some important parts which are connected with national and state symbols. Here is not exact written that national or state symbols are protected, but this background of this protection is here done in the preamble. So the preamble talks about our experience from history, about our Christian roots, about our culture roots, and all these things are the base to our national and state symbols. And another place, another thing is chapter 1st of the Constitution. In my opinion, first Article 1, the Republic of Poland is a common good of all the citizens, is one of the base of protection of national symbols and state symbols, because here is the citizenship done, and this national symbols and state symbols are these marks which could mark the community, and which could be a common sign before international community or before others. It is well done. For example, last Friday we have in Poland National Day, Independence Day, and almost all citizens in their houses, flats, have national colors, flags, and it is very popular to use them during important events for nations, not even national or state events, but also during sport events, culture events. So it is something that builds our identity. Second article is Article 6, paragraph 1. It is on protection of national culture, heritage, and here is written that the Republic of Poland creates conditions for the dissemination and equal access to culture goods, and Polish national symbols are treated as these culture goods, especially anthem, which is a kind of a monument on the Polish culture, both in its text and in its music, but also the emblem, the shape of emblem, also is treated as a culture good. So we can search this protection, general protection, also connecting this national and state symbols with this cultural goods protected by Constitution. But as I said, we have exact one article in which the emblem, anthem, and national colors are protected. It is Article 28. And it is very important for further development of protection. And this Article 28 approves us that the national and state symbols are values, are goods which are protected by the Constitution. Paradoxically, in the history, we put the protection of this state or national symbols in the Constitution of the People's Republic of Poland during communistic period. Earlier, there weren't in Constitution such protection. Why it was put to the Constitution? In my opinion, the communistic powers wanted to replace other national symbols or traditions and religious traditions to this communistic to these symbols. White and red flag was quite neutral. It was present since the beginning of the Poland country, and the eagle without the crown also was not so dangerous for communistic system. What is interesting, in Poland there was no addition of this communistic star as in other countries. We fought with it, and only the eagle was without the crown. It was the symbol of decapitation of the eagle. And how constitutional protect national and state symbols? I think there are three spheres of it. First, it is declaration on the legal protection on these symbols. So this declaration and make the national and state symbols the part of constitution, the constitutional goods, is important, and as I said, if constitution is normative act, so we have to obey this act and use it direct. Second, the constitution has an obligation to the legislator to create a statutory protection of national and state symbols. So not only in constitution this protection could be. And the third, more direct in my opinion, is that this Article 28 of Constitution, especially the section of paragraphs from 1 to 4, may be a reference for reviewing the constitutionality of the law in proceedings before Constitutional Tribunal. It could be maybe sometimes difficult, but this article could be the perspective for the judgments of Constitutional Tribunal. Even we can check if the statutory protection, this axon, emblem, anthem and colors, is in accordance with the Constitution. In Poland, there is now a discussion on changing this statute on protection national symbols and state symbols, and one of the problem is if the one of stanza of anthem is in accordance with Constitution. And here's the problem: if we could make this revision of this text of our anthem, which is in the statute, it is a part of normative act, and check if it is in accordance with this Article 28 and also with other articles which on rule of law and so on and so on. Now it is only a discussion, but who knows? Here are for and against this treatment, because we have the name of Polish. Okay, I finished. We have the name of the anthem in the Constitution. So if we change one of the stanza, it was not the same as this part of the national symbol, and it is also a part of national good, cultural good. So, in my opinion, Constitution protect national and state symbols. This protection is quite good, and because of that, we can't change the symbols very often, and it is difficult to make any amendments to this legal acts on it. Thank you very much.